Hey everyone, I'm back, and this week's theme is Advice Week, and I actually thought about this theme because there was something that I specifically wanted to spread my voice about or give advice about, because I don't know, just wanted to share that. So what I'm going to be talking about is my experience with my mentally abusive / controlling relationship that I was in for nearly 3.5 years. For those of you who might not know, I am 18 years old right now, and I am a first year in college. So I was in this relationship starting in the middle of freshman year of high school, and it didn't end until the end of senior year. So it was my entire high school career, you could say. So basically, I have my notebook. I bought this sophomore year? No. Yeah, sophomore year. I decided to buy a notebook because I am really bad under pressure. One of my number one fears is confrontation. So when my ex at the time would be yelling at me and stuff, I was not able to stick up for myself. So I decided that I was going to buy a notebook to write down all my feelings in, and then if an argument ever came up, I could just be here, read this. This is what I'm thinking. So let me just show you something. This was written, okay, so we started dating at the end of January in 2011. This is almost a year into the relationship. This is January 2012. Let me show you all the things that I wrote. One page. Yep. Yep. Keeps going. Look, yep, that page fell out. Oh, look, another page. Oh, look, another one. So that was the first time I wrote. And I just basically wrote out everything that I had the problem with. And I wasn't actually intending for him to see that. But he did. And he actually got mad about it. Yeah. And then at the end of senior year, I wrote again a long thing. I would write little things down all the time, but I actually wrote these paragraphs. I just started all that. So this is over the course from freshman year to senior year. So basically, I would read these to you, but first of all, that would take massive amounts of time, and I really don't want this video to run too long because I feel like my other videos have already started out long, and I think people will lose attention quickly. So I just want to get the basic ideas. So for the first thing I want to point out is I say abusive relationship, but abuse isn't only physical. Abuse can be mental, emotional, physical, sexual. My abusive relationship was mostly mental and emotional. That's why I also included that it was controlling. So that was the gist of it. And I didn't even realize, I knew I was in a bad relationship, but I didn't know I was in an abusive relationship until near the end, and that's why I finally got the courage to end it. And I'm gonna get into that. I'm gonna go into ending it and stuff, but I just want to tell you guys what I was dealing with basically. So one of the things was he was obviously super controlling. One of the things he was very controlling about was hanging out. So little high school Amanda, I already get tired out easily, and if I don't get my rest, then I'm done. So I also like my alone time. But basically, his ideal hanging out was whenever we got out of school on Friday till 11 at night, and then the next day, Saturday, hanging out from noon to 11 at night, so 12 hours, 11 hours in one day, and then from Sunday at noon till 8 o'clock or 9. And that was just that's basically being with someone 24/7. The only time that you're not with them is when you're sleeping. And it was just too much for me. And I tried to say okay, we have one day when we don't hang out, and oh my god, he would get so mad at me. He would another thing he would do, he would always yell at me. Always. And I'm sorry, I keep looking off. But I tried to see if we could we ended up agreeing at one point that we would not hang out every other Sunday, but that really didn't do anything, and it just formed back into hanging out every day because I'm weak and I didn't know how to stand up for myself. But, and if I wanted to hang out with my friends, oh, I could not just hang out with them. I had to either hang out with them half the day and then hang out with him the other half, and a lot of the times he wanted to be included in it, and he did not get the fact that I just want to hang out with my friends, with me and just my friends. Like, I'd be like, okay, well, I want to do this with this person on Friday. He'll be like, okay, well, either you hang out with me in the morning and then you go do that with them, or you only hang out with them for a few hours and we hang out at night. I'm like, no. He's like, well, then bring me with you. I'm like, no. And, like, my friends would host parties. Like, we'd have, like, our Christmas party with our friends, or, like, people would be coming over. Everyone would get together. And, like, if they're getting together around, like, 4, he'd, like, since he didn't want to only hang out with me for, like, 3 hours, he would make me go late. I was late anywhere from, like, 3 to 7 hours late hanging out with them, and I still feel terrible to this day about that. So he would cut me out from my friends, and I didn't lose my friends, but like I drifted very far away from them during that time. And actually, my cousin, we were super close. Like, we were inseparable before my relationship with him. And then once I started dating him, she tried to tell me that he was no good and he was so rude to me and mean to me and I should just dump him. And I didn't listen to her, and that actually resulted in her not talking to me for 2 years. So he actually took my friends, one of my best friends, my cousin, away from me. But now we're all good. Now that I dumped him, we're as close as ever. So that's good that we were able to recover from that. Another thing about hanging out, he wouldn't respect me. If I didn't feel well, I'd say okay, well, I have a headache, I don't really. And when I get headaches, I get migraines, so I cannot move. And he's like, oh, you'll be fine, we can just sit around and watch TV all day. I'm like, I don't want to hang out. And he would persist and yell and swear and just be so rude to me, and I finally gave in. And that's another reason why I was sick a lot of the time during high school, because if I was sick, I wouldn't get the chance to rest, so I would be hanging out with him. And he would treat me like a pet. He would tell me what to do. We'd be sitting out in my playroom watching TV, and he'd be like, go get my water bottle for me. Water bottle's in my room, which is down the hall. And then I'd get back, and then he'd be like, go get my iPod for me. And it's and then another thing is, he'd get mad at me if I didn't know where something was, because he would have this bag with 6 different compartments, and he'll be like, oh, it's in this this section in this pocket, and I'll be like, okay. And he'd get mad, and I'd come back and be like, I don't know where it is, and he'd get up, get so mad at me. It's okay, first of all, if you had gotten up off your ass and done it on your own, I wouldn't have taken this long, and 2, you would have had it way sooner. And you should have just done that in the first place, and you wouldn't have gotten mad at me. And also, in stores, I like makeup that I don't have. I'm not part of a beauty channel for nothing. I like to go look in the makeup aisle. He would not let me even go near it. If I even looked at it, he would yell at me, or scold me. So he'd be like, if you're good, I'll let you go look at the makeup section at the end of after we're done in this store. And he never even let me, even if I was good. No. And he would, I'm a very, fun person. I dance in public, and I sing in public, and I do weird things in public. Not, too weird, but, I don't know. Barely anyone would notice. Maybe people probably notice my dancing, but whatever. If I even, made a move that wasn't just walking in a straight line, he would get pissed at me. So mad. I would have to walk. He wouldn't hold my hand in public anyway. Not and it actually bothered me because he'd refuse to. So I would have to, this is what I had to do. He made me basically walk. If I was in the store, I had to walk my hands in my pockets so I wouldn't touch anything, his orders. Walk my hands in my pockets, walk straight, only follow him, and yeah, basically be a robot. And when we would go places, I got I had my first car at I got my first car before I even got my license because my aunt was getting rid of it and she wanted to like just give it to me. So I had my first car at 16. I got my license at 16, so did he. He got his license like a month before me. But anyway, I wasn't even allowed to drive my car with him. I drove my car maybe once, like a week after I got my license, and that was after begging him to let me drive just to go pick up pizza. And apparently it was so bad, even though nothing happened, he never, ever let me drive my car again. It would always have to be him. And, it's just ridiculous. And, like, I'd go and pick him up, and I'd sit in the car, and, like, while he was getting out of his place to come to the car, I would go into the passenger seat. And he'd get so mad at me if I didn't move the seat back. Like, an action that literally takes 10 seconds to do, he would get pissed, so mad at me, and just yell at me right there. And oh my god. He would get mad at me a lot if you can't tell. And one of the things was he would have, like, punishments. If he came over and my room wasn't clean, wait. He would make me send pictures of my room every single night. And, to make sure it was clean. And if one thing was out of place, like if there was a shirt on my bed, even if I was, like, planning to wear it the next morning, I forget what the punishments would be. It'd be like, you have to do my homework, or we get one less hour of hanging out. It's like, okay, good. I don't want to hang out with you anyway. But, and then if he came over and there was, like, I have a feather pillow, and one time he, like, got so mad because there's a feather on the ground, like, really. He's like, you should have swept. I'm like, oh my god. What else did he have me do? Whenever we hung out at my place, we were always separated from everyone else. And I'm a person that really likes to be around my family. Like, I like my family. I don't have a problem with them. If my family was, like, watching a movie, he'd make us go in the other room so that we could, like, be on our own. Even if we were watching a football game, we'd have to watch the game in the other room just so it would be us alone. My family has dinner every Sunday night, like an early dinner, and everyone comes over from my mom's side and we all eat dinner together. And normally I just like to sit downstairs and just talk with everyone and eat. When we would go down there, he would literally set a timer. He'd be like, you have half an hour to eat, and then we're going back upstairs. And first of all, I'm a very slow eater. So that's a challenge in and of itself. And the fact that he would set a timer for and all we would do upstairs is just sit and watch TV. So I don't understand. Like, he just did not want to be around anyone else. And if, like, my grandma tried to talk to him or any of my other family members, it would just be, like, a short one-word answer. And it would be, like, with an attitude. And it made me so mad. And it, like, just gets me mad, like, thinking that I went through 3.5 years of this. And I didn't do anything. Like, I tried to do something, but I just, like, over the course of the 3 years, I tried breaking up with him, like, 6 times. And every time I would end up going back to him. Because he would, like, manipulate me. He would just make me feel bad. And, like, threaten things. He'd be like, well, if you don't get back together with me, I'll kill myself. If you don't do this, then I'll do that. And it's like, I know now because he told me straight up that when he did that, he was just trying to make me feel bad. So that's one example of how he would play with my mind. And another example is, he would always belittle me. Like, I could never be happy about any of my accomplishments, or I could never be successful in anything. If I, got a good grade on a paper or something, he would just be like, oh, like, if I had gotten a good grade on a paper or something, he would be like, oh, well, that's because this, and I didn't get a good grade because blah, 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 and then make up excuses, and he would never, like, be happy for me. Like, I got my art displayed in the hallway one time, and he didn't even care. He's like, so a lot of people do. It's like, he made me feel like I wasn't, like, I don't know, I just could never be successful. And like, this is when I was thinking about, becoming a graphic designer, and he's like, you can't do that, you're stupid with computers. If anything, you'll just be a secretary for my business. He always thought, he like always had to be superior to me, and that's another way he was controlling. Another way he would like belittle me is like he would make fun of me. He would like call me names, call me stupid. He would make fun of like the things I would wear in my hair and my makeup, and like anything you could imagine. He would just like put me down constantly. And like when you're in a relationship, people are like going back to also like not supporting any of my success. When you're in a relationship, that person's supposed to like bring you up and like be happy for you and like make you feel better about yourself, not the complete opposite. Like, another thing he did was when we would get into arguments, which was a lot, like multiple times a day, he would always like screw with my mind and make me think that he would turn things around on me. So he'd make me think that I was always the one at fault, and like he would make me feel like such a terrible person. Like, he actually messed with me so bad that like I could not be left alone with my own thoughts. That's the reason why I, to this day, like, it's not nearly as bad, but I've just gotten the habit. I could not shower without having music on to distract me. I could not fall asleep without the TV on to distract me, or at least some sound to listen to so that I wouldn't, like, just, like, focus on my inner thoughts. And it was just, like, kind of, it just wasn't good. I, like, fell into a depression, and my mom noticed it, my friends noticed it. It just was not a good time in my life. Another thing he would do to control me is, for senior year, you would have either like late arrival or early release, so you wouldn't have to come in. You would have to come in late in the morning and leave an hour early. Like come in an hour late, leave an hour early. I had both. He would make me come in. Like sometimes I chose to come in because I would just do homework during that time, but if I didn't want to plan it, come in, he would get so mad at me, and he would be like, say, if you don't come in on time, then blah 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 is gonna happen. It's like, really? And then he would make me, like, he didn't have a car, and I like drove to school because I had a car, so he would have to wait for his father to pick him up, which would be like an hour after school. And he would make me, not only would I not be able to go home early, I would have to wait with him until his father came and got him, or whoever came and got him. So I was sitting in school doing nothing, just with him, and we wouldn't even like talk. We would just be on our phones or something for 2 extra hours that I didn't want to be there. And that whole time, it's just, a lot of the time, even if we were in arguments, he'd make me stay, and that whole time it would just be him grinding down on me. It got to the point where when I just like started to not care anymore, when I knew that I needed to break this off, like, and be done with it, I had gym as my last class, and we would always be outside. So I would ask my gym teacher, be like, can I just go in my car, like, when class was over? So I wouldn't even go back inside. I'd make sure I have all my stuff, and I just go to my car, and that way he couldn't, like, try to stop me from staying after school. So, yeah. I don't know. So that's basically my story. That's very composed because there's 3.5 years worth of things to talk about, but there's a lot that I'm probably leaving out, and I'm gonna like remember and be like, oh, I should have talked about that, but there's just so much, and honestly my brain has erased so much memory of that relationship just because it was such a bad experience that like my like memory has just been wiped out about it. So now to the advice part. If you know you're in an abusive relationship or a controlling relationship or anything like that, basically just a relationship that you want to get out of, I know it can be hard, especially when the person, if they're like my ex, they would manipulate you and threaten things and just make you feel terrible because of it. But what you do, I think what was good for me is, since we were in school, we were seeing each other every day, and that's what made it hard. That's why I always ended up going back to him. But I ended up breaking up with him for good, right before summer vacation. So I would, and we were like, we would never see each other during summer if we weren't together. So what I suggest is breaking up with them. Either, like, if you're still in school, then do it on a weekend, or do it at a time that you know that you're not gonna see them in person. Don't attempt to be friends with them, because I tried to do that, and just to be nice, because he also made me feel bad that I was just like dumping him. It doesn't work, and it'll just be worse, because if they're not gonna change, they're still gonna be the person they were. So they'll still be mean and stuff, even though you're friends. Break up with them while someone's around you. Don't go alone. Always, like, after I broke up, I should have broke up with him when someone was with me, because it would have gone a lot differently. But at least afterwards, I made sure I was constantly with my friends, and I was constantly around people, and that also decreased the time that, like, because if you're around people, they're less likely to do anything. So I know that he would still do something because he didn't care who was around, but it was at least lessened if I was around my friends. But another piece of advice that I can give you is, things will get better. If you don't want to be in that relationship, you don't have to be. It's your life. It's your choice. So don't think that you're going to be stuck in something. You have the power, even though you might not think that you do, because I know how hard it is to get rid of it, to get out of a relationship like that. But it will get better once you break up with them. You can do it. Just make sure you have people there for you. You're always around people. And I was almost the happiest I've ever been once I got out of my relationship. I was just beaming. I was not depressed anymore. I was just so happy, and I still am so happy. I actually have a wonderful boyfriend right now. I mentioned him before. And it's just, if you get into another relationship, if they, like, my boyfriend, he treats me so well, and just, like, compared to how I was treated before, it's even more, like, spectacular. Like, I can't even put it into words. But just, like, not only, like, getting into more relationships, but just being free. Like, after being in a controlling relationship, once you're single, I didn't even know what to do with myself, because I had the power to do anything that I wanted. I wasn't being controlled or told what to do, and it was just such a glorifying feeling. So yeah, if you have any other questions, I know I really didn't do much advice. It was more just like my experience, but I just want to let you know that you're not alone. If anyone ever wants to talk more one-on-one with me, I will be definitely willing to do that. You can just either comment below and I'll try to respond, or I will put my social media links down below, my Instagram, my Twitter. Just DM me on that and I'll respond. So yeah, I'll see you guys next Thursday. I hope this was helpful to someone. Oh, and by the way, I got a tattoo today, and it's an arrow with watercolor splashes behind it, and the meaning of the arrow is, I got this actually specifically relating to it's actually ironic that I got it today, but I got it related to my past relationship, because the meaning of the arrow to me is, an arrow can only be shot forward by being pulled back. So if you're in something like that's terrible right now, it just means that you're gonna be launched into something great. So I was in something terrible. I was in a terrible relationship, and then once that ended, I was given the opportunity to enjoy myself, and now, because I ended it and it's over, I was able to find the boyfriend that I have now, which I'm just so happy, basically. But let me just strip on camera for you. But yeah, and I got watercolor splashes on it because just to make it different and fun, and because I'm, you know, an art student. But yeah, so see you guys next Thursday. Bye.